let's get to it here. Let's get to it. We got a lot to talk about with this. So this was crazy, man. This was absolutely crazy when I saw this. We had gotten this the other day. We had gotten this, Passan said this when the news dropped about Ohtani going to the Dodgers. But I think what most people were thinking when you thought deferment, when you're thinking like, I don't know, maybe you're going to defer maybe like, I don't know, 50 million, maybe like 100 million. I mean, granted, he did say most at the time, but I'm thinking like, when you say most, you mean he couldn't mean all of it, right? Well, according to The Athletic tonight from Fabian Ardaya and Evan Drellick, $68 million per year is going to be deferred. Let me repeat that. $68 million, not for the whole contract, $68 million per year. This dude is going to be making basically $2 million per season. Let me repeat that. $2 million per season, which for us, that's a very good amount. But just kind of think about that for a second. If we go over to the Dodgers payroll here, you're looking at guys like Tony Gonsolin, who's going to be making more this year. Gonsolin is going to be getting a bigger paycheck than Ohtani this year. Guys like Ryan Yarbrough are going to be getting a bigger paycheck than Ohtani this year. That is just crazy. Now, I know Ohtani's eventually going to get that money. I know that. But it's just kind of crazy to wrap your head around that. Like, what? Like, are you kidding me? Tony Gonsolin isn't even going to be, or he's going to be making more than Ohtani this season? That's nuts to me. So, kind of breaking this down here. So, for me, when it comes to math, economics, that's definitely not my strong suit. But for the most part, I have an understanding of what is going on here. So, as you can see here, with the AAV, right around $46 million per year is going to be the hit to the CBT, right? Because remember, you're looking at the AAV of the contract. So, one thing to keep in mind, right? So you're thinking, well, why not the 70, right? The reason is because of the depreciation, right? Money is going to, this contract, it will depreciate as time goes on. Money now is worth more than it is tomorrow, right? That's just how it is. That's how all the money works, right? So instead of the 70 million per year, now it's going to be 46 million per year towards the CBT. So keep that in mind. That's still a really big amount. Still a huge amount, right? So do keep that in mind. However, it's pretty daunting, the fact that, the first reactions that you started seeing towards this was, is this even allowed? Is this even legal? Can you actually do that? Because again, getting back to what I said a little bit ago, you're thinking, all right, maybe they're going to defer like maybe 10% of the contract, like maybe that could come after it. No, like this is almost like close to 100% of the contract. So that's pretty wild. And people were thinking like, is this even allowed? Is this legal? Well, it is legal. And let me actually pull here the Jeff Passan tweet that we saw just a little bit ago. I mean, everyone was jumping on this. We were seeing memes all over the place with this. And Jeff Passan actually did put this out there, actually went to the laws of baseball. And he says here, for anyone wondering if Major League Baseball will challenge or cancel Ohtani's contract, the answer is unequivocally no. There is a specific article in the collective bargaining agreement that addresses this, and it's very clear. Deferred money is limitless, even $680 million of $700 million. So if we go take a look at the rule, it says here, there shall be no limitations on either the amount of deferred compensation or the percentage of total compensation attributable to deferred compensation for which a uniform player's contract may provide. All right, so there it is. I was wondering, like, is this going to turn into something with Major League Baseball? Is this going to be something like go back to the years ago when Alex Rodriguez was about to be traded to the Red Sox, and the Red Sox were seeing if he would, lower his salary per year, and the players union basically came out and said no, right? So who knows? Maybe, if this was, go back to, bring that situation into today's world, could that have been something today, right? Maybe some of that money on A-Rod's contract could have just been simply deferred, right? So I don't know. I don't remember what the rules were back then. I was just a wee little lad at that time, barely even able to understand middle school math at the time. How old was I when that trade almost happened? I think it was 13 or something like that. I just remember, man, A-Rod's going to be a Red Sox. But I remember that whole thing was like quite the soap opera, right? Players union saying, no, A-Rod, you cannot restructure your contract like that to fit the payroll for the Red Sox. And then he ended up being a Yankee. So I thought maybe it could have turned into something like that at the first reaction. But no, once this was put out, once the rules were shared here from past, I'm like, all right, well, there it is. You can say what you will about this. Now, the one thing I'm seeing from a lot of people is, this isn't fair, right? It kind of really, in my opinion, kind of defeats the purpose of the CBT in general, right? The reason that you had the competitive balance tax put into place is to allow those smaller markets, to have more of that chance, right? To be able to try and keep it to a close to a level playing field as possible. And with this, it almost kind of feels like you're defeating the purpose of it, because you're, look at, how much money the Dodgers are going to be saving on it, right? They're going to be saving almost $25 million of a hit each year towards the CBT. However, at the end of the day, I am a realist at the end of the day, and what matters is if it's in the rules, if it's allowed to be done, then there it is. Like, that's all you can say. If the rules permit it, sure, you can sit here and question the morality of it. You can sit here and say, yeah, that's not fair, blah, blah, blah. It is what it is. Unless there's something that in the rule book that says it can't be done, then it's allowed. We can sit and complain about it all you want. But at the end of the day, the Dodgers, Ohtani, remember, this was also Ohtani's idea. That was also reported. Want to make sure I say that. This was Ohtani's idea, right? And at the end of the day, they figured it out and they got it done. And another report was that he had also presented this to the other teams out there, right? Any other team that was talking with Ohtani, he did say this. So at the end of the day, a lot of people were speculating like, wow, really? Did he just basically help out the Dodgers and no other teams out there? No, he presented this to each team according to the reports that I had read. So keep that in mind. At the end of the day, this really came down to, in my opinion, the total money of the deal. Now, I know there are reports out there as well that other teams got close. So yeah, total money definitely came into play. I think obviously that ended up being the main thing. But the Dodgers, when you just look at the organization as a whole, their deep farm system, able to contend every single year, those things came into play too, along with the total money. So at the end of the day, we can complain, we could say this isn't fair, but it is what it is. They found a bit of a loophole and they got it done, right? And for Ohtani, you got to remember here with Shohei Ohtani, this guy makes a ton of money off the field. Last year, it was reported that he made around $40 million off the field in endorsements, right? He's got a few different endorsements out there. I believe New Balance is one of them. I believe Topps was another one. If I'm wrong on that, I know it's one of the baseball card companies. I'm sorry. I believe it was Topps. And then there's a couple other ones. And at the end of the day, this guy's making tons of money off the field. And I would imagine that's only going to increase as time goes on. I mean, this guy's in the prime of his career. We haven't seen a player like this ever. I would imagine only more opportunities are going to come up. And even if they don't, this guy is still bringing in cash off the field, right? Let's say he makes the $40 million again. People were thinking this guy's going to make $40, $50 million per year with the AAV for his salary, right? So, but even still, just the endorsements, he's going to be making probably around that anyway. The $2 million that he'll be getting from the Dodgers, make 40, $50 million in endorsements off the field. He's going to be making pretty much what everyone thought go back a little while ago, people were thinking 40, 50 million. Who knows? Maybe people a while back were saying maybe it could get to 600 million. Well, it definitely got to that and then some, but he's still going to be making a really good salary per year just based off of the endorsements alone. And man, this is such when you think about it, this is just such a smart move. From a personal standpoint with Ohtani, this guy's going to be bringing in cash. And then this dude's going to be sitting on his couch down the road, hanging out, flipping through the tube, looking for something to watch on TV. And he's going to be making whatever the heck, who knows? Yeah, I understand, stuff's going to depreciate, but he's still going to be making a ton of freaking money down the road. He's not going to be doing anything, at least on the field. Who knows? Down the road, he's still doing little things off the field, still getting paid. Who knows? But he's going to be completely fine for the rest of his life. I mean, he would have already just been fine getting this money now. But, dude, the guy's going to be getting paid a boatload just sitting at home. Now, the question is, will this end up being the Bobby Bonilla thing, right? Bobby Bonilla, remember the whole contract with the Mets where they deferred the money, right? I mean, could it end up being that, right? But at the end of the day, though, when I think about it with the Dodgers, right, the Dodgers have only gained more value over the years, right? Go back a little ways now. The Dodgers have become more of a valuable franchise as time goes on. What are they going to be like in 10 years from now? Are they going to really just make up the money by the time Ohtani's retired anyway? So, I mean, honestly, the way the Dodgers are trending, right, especially now that you're going to have Ohtani and you're going to be able to just go worldwide, basically, going over to Japan, right? They're going to be selling Dodgers merchandise everywhere, slapping Dodgers logos all over Japan with Ohtani's face. The Dodgers are probably just going to make this money back over time anyway. So it's really, are the Dodgers, does it really even matter here at the end of the day? I mean, this is probably one of the smartest financial decisions. This has to be up there. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an economist by any means, but this sounds like a pretty smart deal, from both sides if you really think about it. I think this is a win-win the way they did this. I mean, I don't really know what else really there is to say. Ohtani's going to be rich for the rest of his life. The Dodgers are probably just going to make up the money over that time, right, as they gain more value. And another thing, too, with Ohtani's name is only going to gain more value as time goes on. Who knows? Maybe even Ohtani, I've talked about this before, maybe he even ends up in some kind of a movie at some point being in LA. I know he's more of a low-key guy, but who knows? Maybe over time comes out of his shell a little bit more. And maybe he ends up doing a couple of movies at some point down the road. He gets paid for those. I'm just saying. What else is there to say? So, first glance, when I first saw this, I was shocked. Thought about it more. I'm like, wow, that's pretty smart on both sides. Pretty smart. So, we'll have to see. Like I said, bringing up Bobby Bonilla, will it turn? Because people look at the Bobby Bonilla thing pretty negatively. At this point, it's like the Mets are, they're paying the guy whatever it is per year. What is it again? They're paying him per year, like $3 million per year. It's like, who cares? That's like a couple of quarters in their pocket, like whatever. So this is going to be he's going to be making a ton of money after, right? Again, depreciation will come into play. But let's move on here. Now, one more thing to bring up with the Dodgers payroll, right? Remember, bringing up Yamamoto here. We'll get to Yamamoto in just a second, but Yamamoto, Dodgers, a lot of connection there. Remember, immediately first glance, when I keep saying first glance, but when I first saw this, I'm thinking, wait, really? They're only going to get hit with a $2 million on the CBT? And immediately I thought, really? They're saving $68 million? That's what I first thought when I first read everything. And once I realized, oh, okay, no, it's not going to be like that at all. They're going to get hit with around $46 million per year. And actually, just pointing out one more thing, just giving you a little bit more on the numbers here. John Becker of Fangraphs, right? So over time, the depreciation is going to end up being around 4%, right? So right now, $68 million per year, right? That the present value, right? You're looking at around $44 million per year, right? and then add the $2 million to it. So that's where they're getting that $46 million, right? So right now, that contract, because it's being deferred, and when you factor in the depreciation, right now that contract is worth $460.8 million, right? So just keep that in mind. Great job from John Becker and all the math guys out there, all the money people out there, getting all this info out there for the public. Really appreciate that. So, for the Dodgers, right? This obviously gives them way more flexibility now. Yeah. So remember, there is still the luxury tax. I would imagine they're probably going to break this. I would think. Question is, will they get? They could even break the 257, especially if you land someone like Yamamoto, right? If you land Yamamoto, let's say for $30 million per year, right? I mean, then you're looking at that second tier on the luxury tax. So I definitely think these two levels are absolutely breakable. Will they go up to this level? We'll have to see. So obviously Yamamoto is the big one that people are thinking about here. And you got to think too, with the Dodgers, there's not a whole lot of money coming off the books for next year. So that is one thing to think about, right? You're locked into Freeman, Betts, and of course Otani. Yes, $2 million per year, but it's still a $46 million hit on the CBT. There's not a whole lot of money coming off the books, like, Trinan with $1 million, Hayward with $9 million, Kelly with $8 million after this year, got a couple of club options. So there's no big contracts coming off the board, so I wonder if that comes into play when it comes to someone like Yamamoto, right? We'll have to see. I'm very curious to see what the Dodgers do here. If it's not Yamamoto, I definitely expect them to really add some pieces that'll probably put them maybe around that second level, right? With Yamamoto, I think if they do land him, you're probably looking at the Dodgers maybe getting close to this 277. Who knows? Maybe even getting close to that $300 million. We'll have to see at this point. I would imagine with Yamamoto, you're probably going to be around that 277. Maybe you don't even get to the 277 with Yamamoto. That would put you at around 257. So then you have around $19 million to play with at that point. So that's where I could end up seeing the Dodgers getting maybe around like that 270, 275 mark. We'll see. There was also a little bit of news as well. I want to pull this up real quick before I do move on, because it does have to do with the Dodgers as well. A little bit of Tyler Glasnow in the news. I didn't mention this yesterday. I guess I must have been live when this came out. But there was a little something on Tyler Glasnow as well as the Dodgers. Let me pull up this story here really quick. I lost the article. Of course I lost the article. Here we go. So this was from Fabian Ardaya as well in The Athletic. And the Dodgers are looking like a possible landing spot for Tyler Glasnow at this point. Glasnow's been in the rumor mill for quite a bit. So taking a look here, I'll just get the quote because I don't want to have to dig, but here's the quote from there. Tyler Glasnow has emerged as a prominent Dodgers trade target over the last week, according to multiple people familiar with the situation. Some sources suggested that talks could pick up now that the Dodgers have secured an agreement with Otani. So that kind of gets back to the payroll here. You're looking at, another $25 million right there with Glasnow. It would be for 1 year, so keep that in mind. If they did get him, he would come off the books. But that is one thing to keep in mind, right? Glasnow 25, Yamamoto, give him, let's just throw out a number there, like 25, 30. Well, then you're starting to get up there. So we'll see. All right, everyone, let's move on here. A couple more stories. I do have to get going here in the next around 10, 15 minutes. So I'm going to try and whip through these next stories here rather quickly. But we do have... Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm sorry. I actually have to cover this since we are talking about the Dodgers. And you know what? I'll introduce this one real quick. And then I'll get to that story that I'm about to share. Where is it? My goodness. My brain is cooked right now. I cannot think straight. Here we go. So, Yamamoto met with the Yankees today, right? So, now, you didn't have any of the rumored names come out, right? We saw Matsui was a person that could attend. Even Tanaka was a guy that could attend, but ended up being more of just the executive guys there. Aaron Boone was in there. So Jack Curry, he said here, a source with knowledge on the Yankees' interaction with Yamamoto said they remain optimistic about their pursuit of the free agent picture. He said it's a crumb of info, so he's sharing that crumb, right? So, I feel like we've seen this story like a million times when it comes to meetings and whatnot. People are feeling good. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a Yankee, but I definitely think the Yankees, here's the thing with the Yankees, and I'll say this, all right? Keeping the Red Sox bias out of it. If the Yankees really want a guy, they will go freaking get that guy. I'll tell you that right now. Like that, and I say that with all the respect in the world, and give the Yankees a lot of credit over the years. Say what you will about the Yankees, right? And, how things have gone with them over the last few years, bringing in guys that haven't worked out. Anytime they have really wanted a guy, most of the time they get that guy, right? So if they are fully motivated to go throw the bag at Yamamoto, they are absolutely dangerous in this thing. The question is, they can do it. Will they go that extra mile? That's the only thing I just wonder. Hal Steinbrenner, yeah, they made the move for Soto. But remember, it's 1 year of Soto. I do think they would like to get that guy locked up. That's what I would think, right? But he will come off the books. So that is one thing to think about if they do want to sign Yamamoto long term. I think Yankee fans would love to have both for the long haul. Like Yamasoto is what everyone likes to say over in Yankee land. So we'll see. Again, if the Yankees want a guy, really want a guy, they can definitely get him. They're feeling good after the meeting, according to the reports, according to Jack Curry's source. So we'll just have to wait and see. But we also had a trade today between the Dodgers and the Yankees. A little bit of trade action today. You got to love it. And, I'll be honest with you. This one, when I first saw the news, when I first saw it, I thought when the Dodgers, they're trying to clear roster space for Otani and Kelly, I figured, you know what? It's probably going to be some lower level minor league guys, but ended up being some pretty decent names in this trade. So in the end, you saw the Dodgers trade a couple of pieces. Victor Gonzalez is the major league piece. And then you got, I'm going to say the J. I'm going to pronounce it with the J. I'm probably saying it wrong. Is it Yorbit Vivas or is it Jorbit Vivas? I'm going to say it's Yorbit Vivas. I have never heard the name said to me before. I apologize if I'm botching that. I know there's someone out there. You got the pronunciation police out there, and I guarantee someone has been offended by the way I just said it. But you did get, I'm going to say Yorbit Vivas and Trey Sweeney. Trey Sweeney is a guy that I really liked coming out of that draft not too long ago. But with the Yankees, he was not bad for the Yankees at all. When you look at the numbers for him, that's Vivas. But with Trey Sweeney, I thought a pretty respectable player for the Yankees. Kind of almost felt like a Yankee at one point, when he got drafted, kind of the way he was in the batter's box, right? He was very disciplined in the batter's box, really good at putting the barrel on the ball. Trey Sweeney was a good hitter in college, right? But in the minor leagues, only averaged a 248 batting average, but he had a 790 OPS, the majority of that coming from the on-base percentage at a 361. This is a guy had a little bit of pop, 13 home runs last year, but that's not, a barn burner kind of a number by any means. Had some stolen bases in there. Just felt like he really didn't get into that next level, right? Let's see if the Dodgers can maybe do something. Remember with the Dodgers in this trade, when it came down to this trade, the Dodgers, they kind of didn't really have a lot of leverage here, right? Because they had to make the roster space. And in the end, they were kind of at the mercy of the Yankees a little bit. But they did end up getting a pretty good piece in Trey Sweeney, who's now the number 18. But for the Yankees, I love Vivas. Man, when you look at the numbers, 281 batting average in the minor leagues, but with a 383 on base. 25 stolen bases last year. Could that translate? Obviously, that's mainly, I think, due to the new base running rules. So we'll see if he can keep that up. But either way, 25 stolen bases, 25 stolen bases. But with Vivas, the one thing he's gotten comparisons to is Luis Ariz, right? So if we actually go to the scouting report, it actually says it here on MLB Pipeline, 5'10" frame, ability to barrel balls seemingly at will from the left side, are reminiscent of countryman Luis Ariz, right? He's got a 60 hit tool. That's definitely his big thing going. So you would think, with the hit tool, would have maybe a bit of a better batting average, but still the on base is there. So I do like this pickup for the Yankees, but they're also getting Victor Gonzalez for the bullpen. Now, this is definitely not a barn burner trade by any means, but I thought it was a pretty neat little trade here, kind of just good enough prospects and a decent pitcher in Gonzalez that they can have put a lefty in this bullpen. I think it works out. Victor Gonzalez, that's a guy, he's a competitor out there, man. He shows a lot of emotion out there. I could see Yankee fans really liking Victor Gonzalez, going from the left side. He's really good against lefties. So I could see him more in those situations, more in those lefty-lefty matchups. But, he can still go against the righties too. But I think Yankee fans could like Victor Gonzalez. This is a guy, man. If you just go watch, a lot of highlights. This is dudes that's always pumping his fist out there, screaming from the mountaintops. Either way, I like this trade, right? For the Dodgers, yeah, you lose a guy that has been compared to Luis Ariz, but, at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot going on right there with the major league team with the Dodgers. Where would he even fit in? Get Trey Sweeney. Maybe you can see if you can do something with him at some point. And Victor Gonzalez, right, this is a really good bullpen for the Dodgers last year. So I think for Victor Gonzalez, they could move on without him, right? For the Yankees, he fits them a little bit more than he would with the Dodgers. But most of all for the Dodgers, it clears roster space for Otani, for Joe Kelly. Got to make roster space for Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly Fight Club always needs roster space. Listen, I'm just saying, I love me some Joe Kelly Fight Club. But overall, pretty interesting little trade there. So as for Yamamoto, we also did see some news out there that also the Giants met with him this past weekend. So with the Giants, they've been trying to land a big name for a long time. No surprise that this meeting is happening, right? So obviously it's serious enough where the Giants are able to get a meeting. So let's see if this turns into anything. And this was from Buster Olney himself. He doesn't really mention much, just says a lot of the big market teams. This is why I don't like it when, you see reporters out there mostly just saying Dodgers, Yankees, Mets. There's other big market teams here. The Giants, listen, hey, they got quite the market out there, right? They got a lot of payroll flexibility. They got money to throw around. My Red Sox, they're definitely going to be in this thing, in my opinion. So no surprise to see the Giants have their meeting. Haven't seen anything else when it comes to other meetings at some point. Now we've seen, obviously, Dodgers, Giants, Yankees. What's going to be next here? When will the Red Sox have a meeting? I'm guessing it could be this week. I did see another report with Yamamoto that he is looking to sign by Christmas. And according to my calculations, that's less than 2 weeks. So look out for this. This could be building some steam. Yamamoto could be on the move rather soon. Let's get to a couple more stories here. I got to get going here in the next couple of minutes. I'm going over to Ballcap Sports, talking with him and Dodgers Nation, Doug McCain. But let's talk about the Kansas City Royals, talking about pitching here. Hey, I like it when these small market teams are starting to step it up a little bit, right? John Heyman saying here the Royals are looking to add some of the better starters on the market. Lucas Giolito connected with the Royals, as well as Marcus Stroman. They appear to be on their radar. And Mark Feinstein, he contributed to this, saying the Royals are indeed interested in Marcus Stroman. Kansas City is casting a wide net in its search for pitching. Per sources, Royals have also had discussions with Giolito, Michael Wacha, and Jack Flaherty. They were also connected with Seth Lugo. I did predict coming into this offseason, Seth Lugo would be a Kansas City Royal. We'll have to wait and see what ends up happening there. But, listen, with the Kansas City Royals, Listen, the World Series contenders, everyone, because they just added Will Smith. When you add Will Smith to your team, you're an automatic World Series contender. I'm just saying. So they got to beef up the starting rotation. I'm kidding, everyone. I'm not actually thinking the Royals could be a World Series contender. Who knows? We've seen crazier things. But they definitely need to add to this rotation. Listen, I like Cole Reagans, man. This guy busted out last year. He was horrendous with the Rangers. Aroldis Chapman trade ended up being the ace for the Royals, right? You still got someone like Brady Singer who has upside. They need more, though. I'm okay with Reagans and then Singer, but I think they need a couple of veterans in this rotation, to be completely honest with you. I think Stroman would be a really nice ad for them. Giolito. I think Lugo would be a really nice ad for them. So let's see what the Kansas City Royals end up doing. Here we go, everyone. I got about a minute left. The last story that I am going to talk about. We got a little tea out there. Is that what the young folk like to say? Tea? Am I getting that right? Gonna spill the tea? Is that how it is? But here we go here. Cody Bellinger, his fiance, made a post in Toronto. Now, we don't actually know, unless I haven't seen anything, that Cody Bellinger is in Toronto. From all we know, there was a picture from Cody Bellinger's fiance. I feel ridiculous doing this because I feel like TMZ, but either way, there's a picture from his fiance in Toronto. Beautiful skyline. Gotta love it. Looks like a great night, but maybe they were having a little dinner, something. Who knows? Maybe Cody Bellinger is right off to the side right there. A lot of people speculating that he could be in Toronto. I feel like I did see something else that Bellinger was indeed in Toronto. But who knows? Who knows? But it's definitely something to speculate about. But either way, if the Blue Jays are interested in Cody Bellinger, I'm not surprised, right? They wanted Otani. Well, now plan B. Cody Bellinger, I think he fits really well with the Blue Jays. Go back to last offseason. We ended up going to the Cubs, right? I thought Cody Bellinger could have been a Blue Jay, right? A lot of people were saying Blue Jays. They needed that lefty bat. Seemed to make some sense. Let's see if Toronto goes this route. I think there's definitely a good chance that they could land him. They could definitely use that bat in this lineup, right? I mean, sure, you got the guys like Vlad, Bichette, you got Springer, you got Davis, Babe Ruth, Schneider, right? But a bat like Bellinger, I think, would extend this lineup. They need another bopper in this lineup. A guy like Bellinger, who had over a 500 slugging last year, I think would fit really nicely into this lineup, the 134 WRC plus. We will have to wait and see. Everyone, I'm heading over to Ballcap Sports. Go check this out. I'm actually going to put the link to this in the chat, so that way you can just head on over. The link is in the chat. I'm going to pin this. Oh, my goodness. Where? Okay, here we go. So I'm going to pin this to the top, and you guys can just head right on over. And we actually almost hit our like goal, everyone. We're at 192. If you can help us get out to 200 on the way out, I will love you forever. I know we had a couple of super chats. Let's get to those super chats real quick before I do get out of here. Thank you for those that dropped a super. And here we go. So we had 3 super chats. I always never know how to say this. Yosmite Blam. I always don't know. $2 super chat. 194 likes deferred till the next live stream. My goodness. How many deferment jokes are we going to see over the next couple of days? I think it's going to be a good amount. Patman0074, $5 super chat. Heyman said last year that Major League Baseball was ready to void the 14-year, $400 million contract between Judge and the Padres because it was obvious manipulation. This, though, just fine. It is interesting, right? It is interesting. But I don't know. I actually don't even have an answer for that. It's going to be something I feel like we're going to hear more about over the next couple of days. I think the difference with that is because it was such a long deal. I don't know. But then again, you make a good point, right? That was something there. I don't know. Who knows? right? Let's see if we wait for, see any more details that come out possibly. I am expecting possibly Major League Baseball, they could say something over the next couple of days. Maybe we won't even see anything, right? I don't know. I know they love the Dodgers out there. That's a big marketing coup for them. Maybe they just don't feel that way about the Padres. I don't know. I am Donovan73, $5 super chat. They can't do it now, but it will turn into an ownership stake after retirement. That could be something. I think Otani, this guy's he's going to be so big still in the game of baseball, even after his playing days. I could definitely see something like that. Everyone, I'm out of here. I got to head over to Ballcap's channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Again, the link is in the chat. Everyone, I will have another show. I might not be here tomorrow night, so be on the lookout for that. I might maybe do something earlier. I'm going to try because I did have something prearranged for tomorrow. So I might not be live, but keep an eye out for it, though, just in case. Plans could change. Everyone, thank you for stopping by tonight, and I'll talk to you next time.